Hi, welcome to today's episode of Off Script. Now, Off Script is going to be the replacement for Off Topic, or just the rebranding of it. It's the same series. I'm still talking about a recent movie that came out, but I kind of wanted to change the name because Off Topic doesn't really mean anything. And with the advice of my good friend Cara, Cheritomo on Twitter, also on Twitch, she's a great streamer and great friend, I've decided to change the name to Off Script. So thank you very much, Cara, for that advice. Otherwise, though, we're going to talk about Shazam, the latest movie from DC Comics, part of their DC Cinematic Universe. Now, Shazam is a movie based off of Captain Marvel, or I guess he's called Shazam now. Captain Marvel, or now Shazam, is a golden age superhero. It follows the story of the boy Billy Batson, a boy who is so pure of heart. A wizard gives him magical powers and tells him, hey, if you say my name, you will become a great hero. You'll become Captain Marvel. So, and that name is Shazam. He says, Shazam, and a big bolt of lightning comes down, and he turns into Captain Marvel. Except, then a lawsuit and a whole bunch of complicated things happened, and they no longer can call him Captain Marvel because Marvel Comics took that name for their hero, Captain Marvel. And Captain Marvel also had a movie come out fairly recently, which made it all the more confusing because Captain Marvel has a movie out, and then Captain Marvel had a movie come out, and then it's just crazy. It's calamity, and I am here for the chaos, but you know what? I prefer calling Shazam Captain Marvel, but I will try my best to say Shazam going forward. So if I slip up and I refer to him as Captain Marvel, no, I'm referring to Shazam. I'm not going to be talking about Marvel's Captain Marvel, played by Brie Larson, at all in this review. So it's always going to be Shazam that I'm talking about. So let's go with that. This movie stars Asher Angel as Billy Batson and Zachary Levi as the titular Shazam, the big Captain Marvel man, boy, guy. And it's directed by David F. Sandberg, director of Annabelle Creation. Shazam is the latest movie from the DC Cinematic Universe, the DC Comics movie universe of movies that was made to rival the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and by God, did it fail horribly at that. Most of the movies are terrible, except for maybe Shazam and Wonder Woman. That's about it. All the other movies are just not my speed, but hey, at least they did justice to my favorite hero. Personally, this is actually true, Captain Marvel, otherwise known as Shazam. My favorite hero in comics. It's really hard to explain why I love Captain Marvel so much, but based off lore, background, style, that ability to just be a boy, then stand proud and say Shazam and be turned into a hero, there's something so cool about that, right? Just saying the word Shazam feels powerful. But we're not going to be talking about that as much today. I want to talk about and focus on the actual movie of Shazam. As I just said, I'm a great fan of Shazam, so this movie had a lot of expectations for me, and it did all right with it. It did pretty good. And yeah, I think that's the review, so thank you very much for coming down. This is great. You've all been fantastic. No, really, what I love about this movie is that this movie is very funny. It has a lot of really good jokes and fun interactions between characters. It has some really good comedic timing. The main interaction you get between the movie is Zachary Levi as Shazam and Jack Dylan Grazer playing Freddy, Billy Batson's new foster brother. And they are a great comedic pairing. They have a lot of really great moments and interactions with each other. And Zachary Levi really pulls off this idea of being a big, strong adult man who's played by a child, or played by a irresponsible, reckless teenager. I really like the characterization of Billy Batson a lot here, too. Billy Batson in the comics, and like his golden age typical interactions, he's usually seen as he's chosen by the wizard because he's pure of heart. And the way the comics used to show that is that he would just be oh golly gee, I'm the most perfect boy around. I'm gonna fight the bad guy. Oh geez, I just need to figure it out with my handy old Shazammy powers. And Billy Batson, the character, was kind of always taking a backseat to Shazam. Which isn't really the case here anymore, and it wasn't really the case when they rebooted the character, because they made a more focus on Billy Batson himself. Billy Batson has always been an orphan in all of his interactions, but the way that they treat his lack of parents in Shazam the movie is really moving and sad and tragic, and they use it perfectly, because Shazam as a character and as a mythology has always had family with him. He's always had people around him to help him and to work with him, and who also share in his power. And this movie really captures the core essence of Shazam the character perfectly. There's some things outside of that that I don't think work as well. The effects felt a little off to me at times, which is a very nitpicky complaint. I can overlook that in most times, and it's not really that huge of an issue. Pacing was a bit weird to me, but pacing in superhero movies is almost always a bit weird to me, especially in origin hero movies. Just because you have to introduce the character, you gotta introduce the villain, you gotta introduce this, and that. They had so many characters to work with and introduce with in this movie that felt like it bogged down a lot of the time for it. So pacing was a bit off, but the jokes were really well done. Cinematography was pretty good. There's nothing, I super noticed, but I thought it was pretty well done. Nothing bad at least. There's a lot of really good using the DC universe to kind of play with and make fun of other heroes, which I think is really appropriate for kids of this age who live in the DC universe. It feels real. It's whenever you watch a movie that takes place in a universe where there's other heroes and you just hear them never talk about other heroes, like they're not there. They talk about other heroes frequently, like they should. Like Superman and Batman are brought up all the time, and that's good. That makes the universe feel real. It's one of the things I really loved about Spider-Man Homecoming, which Spider-Man Homecoming had a great cameo appearance of Captain America. Those kind of small touches of having those characters who are bigger than the character you're dealing with right now, that adds a lot of weight to it. It adds something new, it adds to the universe, the feel of the movie. I had a lot of fun with this movie. I really loved it, and as a big fan of Shazam and the comics, I felt like it did it justice. Now, would I have liked to seen a better villain? Probably. Of course, I would always prefer to have Shazam's biggest villain, Black Adam, in here, because Black Adam and Shazam going at each other is always one of the best things to me, because one of the things I really love about Captain Marvel isn't just Captain Marvel, it's also Black Adam. Like, their interaction, their fights against each other are always interesting to me. So it sucks that we didn't get that, especially because Black Adam is eventually supposed to be played by The Rock, which I've been hearing about since I was in high school. I'm still interested to see what they do and how The Rock portrays Black Adam, because Black Adam is a very serious, angry man. He is Superman Moses, basically. Like, he is a big, powerful man who can fly and do superhero things, who also killed the pharaohs and freed the slaves. That was his goal in life. That was his main ambition in life. That's what he did in the comics, right? He doesn't care about trying to reform a villain or having them go to prison. He wants to rip their head off. And that's gruesome, and I want to see that. I want to see how that interacts with Shazam, with this version of Shazam, this Zachary Levi version of Shazam. It's going to be interesting, and I'm very excited about that. One thing I was also really excited about was that this Shazam movie was basically based off of the new 52 version of Shazam, which I picked up a trade paperback version of it from Barnes & Noble like years back, like 3 or 4 years back. And I am so happy to see this story come to the screen, because I really like this. I really like this adaptation of Billy Batson. I think it's a really good direction to go with him, of not having me this pure-hearted boy, of giving him a little bit of grit to him, where he still has a kind heart, but he has a little bit of roughness to him, just because he's a kid of the world. He's a foster child. He's dealing with a lot of shit. And this family that they've given him and the interactions he's had, it's perfect. It's brilliant. It fits him so well. It is exactly what Billy Batson should be. I'll be interested to see what they do with Black Adam, how they take this story going forward. But as a movie, I'm happy with it. It did really good. It did way better than I expected. So hey, that's awesome. This has just been a quick little ramble on Shazam. This is like my 3rd time recording this, because I have so many things I want to say about Shazam, but I can't, because it'd be just rambling and be nonsensical for the most part. So hey, that's fine. Other than that, thank you very much for watching. You just stay rad.